Welcome to the only daily podcast focusing on compliance news of the day. Each morning, start your day with a cup of coffee and Tom Fox, the voice of compliance, to hear about 4 of the top compliance, corruption, or leadership stories you will need to start your day. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network.
First, a word from this month's sponsor, Ethico.
If you're a compliance officer, middle managers are crucial in getting your programs from you to your frontline employees. But how do we activate those managers and get them on our side? Ethico's new Middle Manager Toolkit equips you with the skills needed to empower your managers, to promote a culture where ethical behavior thrives and employees feel empowered to speak up. Learn how to turn frontline managers into ethical leaders with our new white paper, Empowering Middle Managers as Ethics Champions. And did I mention you can get the whole toolkit for free? Head to ethico.com to download the full toolkit today.
Also, if you are looking for something new and different for the upcoming Compliance Week celebration in November, check out The Compliance Kids. It's my 3-book children's series on compliance and compliance professionals for children. But they make great gifts and great training tools for your employees. You can check it out on Amazon.com. We've linked to it in the show notes. The Daily Compliance News for October 31, 2024, a happy Halloween edition. And we start with our first story, which is Sri Lanka is probing the corruption from handling its 2021 cargo ship disaster. Looks like the prior government in Sri Lanka both skimmed off money that was provided from insurance carriers or insurance clubs in the Lloyd's market for settlement of this claim, and then money laundered it. So no wonder they threw out the crooks. And the new government is launching a fresh investigation into the handling of the MV Express Pearl cargo ship disaster that devastated marine life along the nation's coastline. Next up, thinking about taking a position in China? Think again. AstraZeneca's China President is under investigation by Chinese authorities, as reported by the Financial Times. He's one of the country's most high-profile pharmaceutical executives, and now he's under investigation as a crackdown on the pharmaceutical sector intensifies in China. The British drug maker said it was cooperating with the ongoing investigation, but there's been no statement on the nature of the probe. Next up, remember Trafigura? Well, you should, because they got into big FCPA trouble for their massive FCPA violations and massive fine. Well, now they're preparing to take a $1.1 billion hit after discovering fraud and corruption involving employees in the Mongolian oil business, a loss which could also force the commodity trading giant to restate earnings, comes less than 2 years after it lost more than $500 million in alleged fraud, and of course had their massive FCPA investigation. So Trafigura just seems to be stumbling along when it comes to doing business ethically and in compliance. And finally, from the Wall Street Journal Risk and Compliance Journal, Richard Vanderpoort reports that supply chain woes carry high risks. And what does all of this mean for compliance? Well, the thing about risk is there's a risk management process that you can follow, and every compliance professional knows that. You assess the risk, you put together a risk management strategy, you train on that strategy, you monitor the results of that strategy, and then you continuously improve. So compliance is uniquely situated to help supply chain risks. As I mentioned at the start of this podcast, the sponsor for the entire Compliance Podcast Network is Ethico. Well, Ethico has a great new offering this month for you, a toolkit for middle managers. This is something that you, as the compliance professional, can use to move your compliance program forward by giving middle managers the skills necessary to answer a call for speak up or when someone comes in their office and raises a concern. I can't think of a tool that will be more valuable for you in the current era of enforcement. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network and a proud member of C-Suite Radio. Thanks so much for listening. I hope you'll join me again tomorrow.